Good evening. It's 5:30 and time to begin our board meeting today. I'll call this meeting to order. Roll call, Ms. Rhonda.
Dr. Pettis.
Here.
Mrs. Temple.
Here.
Mr. Taylor.
Here.
Ms. Barker.
Here.
Mrs. Scott.
Here.
Mr. Newsom.
Thank you. Invocation and flag. Of course, our students just began school, so we won't have a student here, but we can do the flag salute. Thank you. Our vision statement, Ms. Barker.
Vision statement. Our community, our schools, where your future begins.
And our mission, Ms. Temple.
The North Little Rock School District will prepare all students for their future by offering a well-rounded, rigorous, relevant, and innovative education that allows each child to achieve their full potential in a safe, supported learning environment to be future ready.
Thank you. And our moral purpose, Ms. Scott.
As a community, our moral purpose is that all children will achieve, have a high-quality teacher, have a high-quality leader, and a supportive learning environment. We will not allow an achievement gap in the North Little Rock School District.
Thank you. And the fun part that we all like, we have recognition of people and events and programs. There are no student presentations, but there's some special recognition.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege this evening to have a very special recognition. And that is for what we term in the North Little Rock School District and for our board is known as the best of the best. And how do you become the best of the best award recipient? We've done this now for the last couple of years, and it's based on the new Atlas assessment, but it recognizes teachers for achieving that their students have achieved outstanding growth on the assessment. This is significant, and I will tell you, last year we had 10 teachers that we recognized in the best of the best. This year we have 20, and whoop, whoop, that's right. Come on back and say that. Cheer that up. And they are here this evening, and we are so honored. Mr. Barnes, when he calls your name, if you could please come forward, receive your recognition, and then we are going to have a little photo op ceremony and to recognize the best of the best, because these teachers represent what's great about our school district, and the ones that make the most significant impact are our teachers. What they do in that classroom every single day, how they plan for it, what they come up against, and these teachers have done an outstanding job of helping their students grow. So couldn't be more proud. Mr. Barnes?
From Amboy Elementary, Ms. Marcia Scott.
Ms. Scott.
And Ms. Jill Tanner. From Lakewood Elementary School, Mr. Richard Walters. I just learned about Richard the other day. Mr. Lance Walters. Miss Melanie Griffey. And Miss Bailey Black. From Crestwood Elementary, Miss Lauren Whitmore. In memoriam for Miss Wanda McCraney. Her husband will be here to accept her award on her behalf. So would you please come forward? Miss Jamie Rowe. And the TikTok man, Mr. Christopher Nick. From Ridge Road Elementary School, Mr. Vu Lee. Miss Christina Story. Miss Elizabeth Barton. From Glenview Elementary School, Miss Mariah Sheard. Meadow Park Elementary, Miss Wendy DeAndrea. Also from Meadow Park, Mr. Gerald Baker. From North Little Rock Middle School, Mr. Joseph Rogers. And Miss Brandy Greening. From North Little Rock High School, Miss Kelly Young Franklin. Miss Missy Sella, she told me she was not going to be able to make it today. But Miss Emily Murray. And Miss Kylene Floyd. And from the Center of Excellence, Mr. Brandon Stargill.
Way to go, way to go.
Next, we will recognize some high school students who were recommended to be recognized by the Theater Arts Department. So the Theater Arts Department wanted to recognize a group of students who chose to give up a few hours of their summer break to help transfer props and costumes from Old Main to the current high school campus. Despite working in temperatures exceeding 100 degrees, they were exceptionally helpful and worked tirelessly through challenging conditions. While they will be receiving service hours for their time, their extraordinary effort went above and beyond expectations. They are Paxton Bowsman, Mallory Brewer, Story Ginn, Zoe Jones, Anna Mooney, Alicia Rogers, Harrison Self, and Beatrice Tucker. Okay. And Ms. Stanley, if you would come, Mr. Klinger, if you both would come, they recommended them for this, so let's get them in the picture as well. Some of you stand up on the step up there so we can come in. All right, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
love that part. All right, we're down to public comments. Per Arkansas Code 6-13-619, and according to Act 902 of 2025, citizens who desire to speak during public comment must sign in prior and will be called to the podium. Speakers must meet one of the following criteria according to Act 902 and listed on the sign-in sheet: reside within the school district, be a parent or legal guardian of a student in the district, or be employed by the district. Public comment is not a question and answer period, and as such, school board members and the superintendent do not respond to public comments during a meeting. While we do encourage you to speak respectfully and professionally, further, citizens will have no more than 3 minutes to speak and will not be allowed to make comments that shall prejudice the board of directors concerning student or personnel matters that could come before the board for a disciplinary or employment consideration, or that is in conflict with other district policies or laws. Further, public comments that include slanderous remarks about school district employees or that would violate the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA, are strictly prohibited. Personally identifiable information, discussion of a student, educational records, or reference to student directory information is not permitted during the public comment period. Speakers who violate these guidelines will receive a single warning and be respectfully asked to redirect their remarks. Should the speaker continue in violation, the board president will end the speaker's time and move on to the next individual. If the public comments go beyond 30 minutes, the board may require all public comments that go beyond the 30 minutes and are not about matters that are on the meeting's action items agenda to be held after the other agenda items. Okay. We have two. The first one is Jared Gardner.
Good evening. How y'all doing?
All right.
So I'm Jared Gardner. I am on the PTA board at Crestwood Elementary. I'm also the PAWS president, the DADS program up there. We try to help out the kids and do what we can to make things better for the students in general. At open house this year, though, we had a little issue with a parent that was up there in the wrong classroom. That he's a sex offender. It's known by several people around. It was posted somewhere on Facebook in Lonoke County. My daughter had no idea who he was. She was up there. Her and 3 of her friends were up there. So 4 girls, 12 years old, to go up there and see their old teachers again because they went to Crestwood and they loved it. They enjoyed it. So while they're up there, this guy starts staring at them to the point that they all felt uneasy. They felt insecure about it. They came to me and talked to me about it while I'm at this pause table trying to recruit dads. And they had chills on them. They just were uncomfortable. And they told me about this. So when I turned and looked down the hallway to go talk to the guy, he was walking out of the classroom and walking out of the back door. Not the front where everybody could see him, where he was known, but out of the back door. So that upset me quite a bit as a dad, worried about my child's safety and being uncomfortable at school. So I started looking up all the school policies and laws, and I ended up talking to a few of the superintendents, and they asked me to come up here and speak on behalf of that, possibly trying to change these policies, update them. I don't think anything's been updated since 2017. And if you ask anybody out there in the public, most of the time they'll tell you, well, I don't think sex offenders can be anywhere within 500 to 1,000 feet of a school. And this guy, he was charged with 4 counts of child pornography. So, I don't think that's anything small, and he's still walking around the school. So I'm here not to advocate for just my kid, but every kid at Crestwood School District, and I'm here to ask and see what y'all can do to help. I don't think anybody here is in this position up here on the board, superintendents, because you don't care about the kids. I think y'all do, and y'all want better things for them, a better future. You want safer schools for them, so I'm asking for your help to see what we can do about this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. Yes, sir.
And our next is Kyle Hicks.
Hey, good evening. My name's Kyle Hicks. I'm a proud teacher of the North Little Rock School District. I teach 9th grade U.S. history at the high school. I also have a daughter at Crestwood Elementary. She's in the 1st grade. My daughter was in the classroom of the wife of the offender last year, and when we were made known of this, my first thing I did was I emailed the principal of Crestwood Elementary as a concerned parent and also as a colleague of North Little Rock School District. And I never got a response from that principal, which as a parent that is emailing that says concerned parent, feel like I deserve the respect of that principal to get a response. I have copies of my email if anybody would like one. Then I also emailed Chief Finks, and I got a response from Chief Finks basically saying, well, we can't do anything about it because there are different levels of sex offender, and that's about it. There's different levels, and there's not much we can do. Policies, here's the policy, you can take a look at it. I've taken a look at it, Mr. Gardner's taken a look at it, and it is dangerously vague. That's the only way to put it. I was told by McHenry Group PLLC that Colonel Stranger was notified a year ago about it, as was Tawny Roll with the Arkansas Department of Corrections, and that they were looking into it. A year later, this man is still on accessing our campuses. His son is in the same 1st grade class as my daughter. So as my child moves through the grades, it's very likely that his son will move through the grades, and he will continue, as far as our district policies are concerned, to attend field trips, come to open house, come to PTA meetings, and so forth. I understand that there are levels of sex offenders. I don't think the level should matter when it comes to the safety of our North Little Rock school children. Whether you are a level 1 nonviolent offender or a level 4 violent offender, you should not have access to school grounds.
That's your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Hicks.
you.
Alrighty. Next on our agenda, there is no legislative update. Keep it moving. CPPC and LPPC monthly reports. Is there a representative for classified personnel?
No, ma'am, there's no
Okay.
report.
Keep it moving. Licensed personnel?
Evening.
Good evening.
My name is Kay Adams, and I'm currently the chairperson for LPPC. My tenure is, I quote, I'm a lame duck at the moment until we have elections and everything, so I don't know if I'll be with you in the future or not. Well, I'm sharing the minutes from May. I know that was like a super long time ago, but that's what I've got there. So I just want to, we had talked then about the licensed professionalism policy that was being proposed at the time. And LPPC had looked at other districts to see if they had these policies, and the other districts had like a code of conduct and an ethics policy. Our committee asked Colonel Stanger to consider some suggestions that we had for the policy, and he looked at our suggestions and he did add some to the policy, and I believe the policy was passed in July, I think. That's all I have for you.
Thank you, Ms. Adams.
Any questions or anything?
Anybody to my left have any questions?
When is the election for the designation?
We are sending out that information hopefully tomorrow or Monday, and the election will occur in the next 2 weeks,
Okay, and then your next meeting is when?
September the 14th.
September 14th.
Hopefully we'll have all our elections done because we are electing 10 new people.
Okay.
So that's a lot
That's
of
a
people.
lot.
There's only 18 people on the committee, and people have changed jobs, left. My term's up, so
Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Did a great job, Ms. Adams.
Anybody to my right have a question? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Adams.
We're down to informational items. The first one is 11.1, Charging Wildcat Blueprint Report.
Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Poliski, I am Dr. Leanne Stoll, and I am the Assistant Superintendent of Network Support Services. And I am here tonight to talk to you a little bit about PD, but I'm going to, before I start in about the Charging Wildcat Blueprint Conference, it's a mouthful, sorry. I first wanted to talk to y'all about our Para Academy and give thanks to 2 board members who are here. We had a really cool, first time ever, a Paraprofessional Academy, and Dr. Redis and her husband and Mr. Taylor graciously donated breakfast and snacks, and these are some of the hardest working individuals in our district, so I want to thank you both profusely for that contribution. It made their day. And I just wanted to tell y'all real quick what they were trained on, so you knew that. They were trained on crisis response training, which is de-escalation of behaviors and holds. They also had behavior tools training and regulation of behavior, and then they had CPR and first aid from our nursing staff. So it was really a good thing for them to start out the year with, and just thanks to you all for kicking us off to a good start. And so now I'd like to introduce my colleagues, Ms. Sarah Robertson and Dr. Mandy Carmichael, and we're going to give you just a little bit of an overview about the Charging Wildcat Blueprint Conference. And I just wanted to start off by saying my whole team, the Network Support Services team and the Wraparound Services team, this wouldn't have been possible without them. They worked their tails off, and this was an idea in our heads probably about this time last year. We thought, we really want to do something different. These 2 ladies spearheaded the whole event, but it took our whole team to pull that off. So I just wanted to give them credit, and I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues and let them start the presentation.
So we did start off our year with, and we don't have data about it, but did want to just point out that we started off our year with for the new teachers conference that we had for 2 days, new teacher orientation, and it went unbelievably well. We had wonderful feedback, and one of the biggest things that our folks said was that they felt like they were part of a culture. They were part of a legacy. They were part of something that mattered. And so that was a really wonderful way for us to kind of start off the year. And then, Dr. Carmichael, do you want to talk a little bit about where we started when we were thinking about the Blueprint Conference?
Yes. Thank y'all for listening. We'll keep it real short and sweet, I promise. But in January 6th, we had a little bit of, we had Marzano come in and do teaching strategies and student engagement strategies. But not everybody, including paras, nurses, counselors, art, like all the different curriculum pieces and different roles, they didn't have a voice of where can we fit, where do we fit for PD. We're just kind of blanket in there. So as we kind of brainstormed, we wanted everyone to have a voice. So in that voice, we sent out a survey. What kind of voice, what would you want to see in a conference? And so that's kind of how we started snowballing this as a conference, a Blueprint Conference. We also, as administrators throughout the district, we used the key levers tool, and we did over 2,300, I'm sure you've heard this, over 2,300 walkthroughs, and student engagement was our deficit. So if that's our deficit, then we need to ensure that our teachers have the tools to meet that deficit of increasing student engagement. So that was the big focus of this. So as our team got together, we wanted to start something broad. So we started with, how does our community support us? And so Dr. P did a fantastic job doing, I'm sorry, I just hit that, did a fantastic job with a keynote, really showing the importance of how student engagement impacted him and his career as a student, and all the way up to our superintendent today. Then we went through AWARE training. We had that as an offering, and then we had retired teachers come and do as a panel discussion of the importance of student relationship and student student engagement. Then we brought it down to where we really had a lot of great feedback, and I have to thank Dr. Smith and Dr. Rogers, our principals, assistant principals. Yes, I made a list because I didn't want to forget anyone. Our NRS, our volunteer lead teachers, our nurses, and all of our coordinators all took sessions, and they had teachers could choose 2 different sessions from those, and we had great feedback from that. So I'm gonna let Sarah talk a little bit.
Do we have the slides?
Yeah, do we have a clicker somewhere?
Because the feedback on the 2 sessions was outstanding, and it really saw our teachers saw our leaders as instructional leaders, and it also developed like, oh, these are things that we should be seeing in the classroom. And if you haven't seen
Jake,
these 2 gentlemen,
can you help him? It's information. It's on the information item.
Just hold for a second,
Okay,
so
I'll
you're not
I'll
talking
hold.
without your data behind you.
because it's really impressive. We were really tickled on
What I will
the feedback.
What I will mention while we're waiting is we had some amazing donations. So we did door prizes, and this year, different than last year, we had door prizes for everybody at the Blueprint Conference, but we also had door prizes for the 2 other PDs that were happening at the same time. So transportation and food service had door prizes, and as well as our Paraprofessional Academy had door prizes. And so we got donations from Genesis with gift cards. McGraw-Hill gave, what's the name of the?
Hulk bags.
Hulkin bags. That was a big
Highly
win.
sought of it.
People were very excited. And then Navholtz also gave stuff. And then we also provided breakfast that morning from First Security, and then we also had snacks from True Service Bank. So it was a great opportunity. Also, we wanted there to feel like there was an abundance for folks, and I think people really felt that there was always a snack or something. As you can see here, we did a really quick survey, so they could survey each session that they were in. It was 5 questions. We called it a pulse check. We had over 1,000 responses, and our average was 4.29 stars. So we were pretty excited about that. It was between good and pure gold. So we feel like 4.29, we can get to pure gold eventually. Do you want to go to the next slide? These are the sessions that we had our highest volume of folks who gave us feedback. And so lunch was our shortest, which I think that makes a lot of sense because they got to go on their own for lunch. But as you can see here, our 2 highest rated, or most rated sessions were at 29% our learning session 1 and at 23% our learning session 2. And those are the 2 learning sessions that Mandy was talking about. And then our closing session, which was a panel of students ranging from 3rd grade through 12th grade, talking about their experience with student engagement, was also very highly rated, which makes a lot of sense. We even sang a little conjunction junction there. That was pretty great. Cooper, that's right. Cooper was awesome. And this is my favorite. So our highest rated session was that closing session, which is what it should be because it was our students. And they were honest and real in their feedback. We did not prep them. We gave them the questions ahead of time. We did not give them speaking points, and it was just an honest conversation. We learned things like high school students like small groups. We had an amazing rising 6th grader who said, I really love helping my peers, but I also love being in a small group where I can learn new things too. And we had a very amazing, wonderful senior who told the truth about education and her experience in it, and she was remarkable. We need to get that girl a scholarship. So it was really great that this is how we rated them. And then, Mandy, I don't know if you wanted to go into any of the sessions there.
So we had 44 different sessions. The ones that Dr. Smith and Dr. Rogers and our principals and assistant principals came from the handbook for the new art and science of teaching, chapter 7, student engagement. So they chose the different sessions that they wanted to present on. So that's what we'll also be seeing in our walkthroughs is student engagement. We wanted to give them the book as well as here's what it looks like in the classroom. So our building leaders were able to give that as well as the nurses giving a small session. Alicia Weatherford did Win-Win Discipline, which is, again, all about positivity and student engagement. So The 44 sessions were a mix, but the majority of them from our building leaders. We really appreciate that.
And then this is awesome. 91% of folks, and again, this is self-regulated, 91% said they feel like they're ready or that they're getting there. So they felt confident when they left those sessions that they could take those things that they learned and apply them directly to their classroom. And we had a meeting today with our coordinators, and what we heard was that we've already seen it in action.
What they're getting where?
That they're getting there, that they need a little bit more information, but that they're getting there to be able to put this into action.
Student engagement.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the strategies. Yep. And then it's not all good, y'all. This is kind of how we're looking at some of the challenging feedback we got. So the strategies were in theory great, but didn't apply to my highly specialized role. So we know we have some work to do to really think about those that are maybe not doing, what the majority of everybody else does, some of those specialty roles. I barely have enough time to finish my curriculum, let alone add some completely new methods. So really trying to help build that. And then the content provided just isn't applicable to the tasks that I have to do every day. And so it looks like what we hear in that is that there are some specialty roles that maybe are outside of our curriculum roles that we can provide some training for during those, and maybe talking about student engagement or whatever next year's mission is, but really making sure that we're giving some time and attention to those roles.
And I'm going to interject real quick on the time constraints. Working with our NIS, we have a meeting tomorrow on how to incorporate the student engagement. You're not doing something brand new. You have to use, if I'm teaching vocabulary, I'm not going to say, here's your worksheet or here's your crossword puzzle. Let's implement it with student engagement. Let's have dialogue and discourse. What are some strategies to use? So changing that time constraint method of, it's not something new, or it's not a whole different curriculum or just a playtime. You're actually creating an opportunity for learning through that engagement. Just like adults, we don't want to just sit and listen. We want to have dialogue in between.
So I just want to add, because I know I'm guilty of it, is acronym. So when she says NIS, what she's referring to is a network instructional specialist. So when we reorganized a couple years ago, each of our schools, with the exception of the middle school and high school, have more than one. They're like instructional coaches, and their job is to work hand in hand with teachers on lesson planning, modeling, and coaching. So the meeting they're talking about is supporting those leaders so they can be at their schools working on student engagement with their colleagues.
Thank you.
In the spirit of background, will you help me understand, how is student engagement measured? Like when you say that we have a deficit, what does that mean?
So if you I'll use two examples. So if I'm the 1994 student in the classroom, I may have someone who's just writing on the chalkboard, sit and go. It's a compliance.
Right.
So that versus if we're doing, instead of it's vocabulary, instead of me looking up the definitions, maybe I have a definition and there's different models, there's different ways to do this that Dr. Stoll and I would exchange. Like, what is a picture? Let's find a picture of what the vocabulary word would be. So we're back and forth. It may be a quiz back and forth, but there's a dialogue. It may be 4 corners where we're going to divide. There's all kinds of different ways for students to engage in the learning, but it's going to be more of a dialogue instead of students to student dialogue rather than just a sit and get.
So like when we're doing walkthroughs, if we see sit and get, we're flagging it, and that's why we say we have a deficient. Okay, got
We
it.
have
So
a
that's
walkthrough tool.
passive learning. So
Right.
the research around how kids learn
Right.
is that the more that they're actively engaged in the learning process and being challenged in that is the leading indicator to achieving in that content area.
Right.
So when we talk about measurement, that's a good indicator is at the end of the year on the Atlas assessment that measures achievement and growth. That's one area, but we do that periodically through the year. We're putting common informative assessments in, which means I'm teaching my class, I'm checking for understanding, but every 2 or 3 days, I'm gonna assess where those kids are and if they're learning those standards at that time. And if not, then I've got to do something different because a strategy that works for Dr. Carmichael might not be working for Dr. Stoll. So there's many ways in which we measure whether or not that's happening.
Right. And then for our NIS, for our network instructional specialists,
Good
Yep.
job.
how many teachers do they support? Like, what's the ratio?
Well, there's one NIS per elementary building, and then the high
So
school
that's-
has 3, and the middle school has 3.
So that's like, what? Fast
So
math,
it's
4 times 5, 20?
depending on the size
Okay.
of the school. Yeah, they're
All right.
supporting.
Okay,
And their primary support are in the tested areas.
got it. Okay, thanks. No.
Sure.
And how many teachers at each school? Just give or take?
That's going to depend
Depends
on
on the
enrollment.
school.
Yeah.
We can get that to you by
No,
how
I'm
many.
just curious,
how
when
many
we say
teachers.
one to a school, I was just
Yeah,
curious.
20-ish.
So
Sure.
back to the measurement,
We could use more.
I heard Dr. Paluski's description. So it's more visual measurement?
Well,
Is it in
also
the
we have a
tools,
tool,
like-
we have a walkthrough tool that's
Okay.
just based on student engagement. And so like if I'm gonna go in a classroom and observe you, I have this student engagement walkthrough tool that I can check if I see it, I rate it. And so then after we do that walkthrough, then we'll visit with the principal and visit with that teacher. And so we do measure it like by metric as well.
So have we increased our walkthroughs? How often?
12. So we require our administrators to be in 12 classrooms a week at a minimum of 10 minutes. But we're all doing walkthroughs periodically. So this walkthrough is really broken down into 4 components in the teaching and learning cycle of student engagement. So what we want to go and look at is what students are actually doing. So we want to look at the assignments. We want to look at the tasks. We want to look at the materials of instruction. Is it aligned, high-quality instructional material that we've purchased that is aligned with the standard? Are they using that? Are kids interacting with it? Are kids thinking and being challenged at a higher level, which is where the standard is? We're also looking at how students are being grouped. We talked about small group. We also look at lesson design, and we also looking at pace of the lesson. Is the teacher moving through the lesson at a pace to be able to adequately cover the content of that particular day, assess that, and then figure out who needs what based upon that. So those are 4 key areas which are really tied all the way back into the teacher evaluation system. So that's based upon those 2,305 walkthroughs that we did. That is the number one thing in which we're going to focus on. Our professional development is on, that we're going to say gang up on, but that is, research shows us it's probably over 93 or 4%. If you improve that, you're going to improve achievement and learning for all students.
So you may have said it, does that add to the students' input as well? Or is it all the measurement? Do students get to chime in on how they're engaged or how they feel?
Oh,
they're engaged?
absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
that's the number one thing we want to, when we go into the classroom, we want to see what kids are doing, what are they talking about, what questions are they asking, right? Because there's a direct correlation between what a teacher does, right? If I plan for this and I'm intentional, if I do X, then kids should be doing Y. And we want to see that. That's the art and science of teaching. That's the fun stuff of,
Connection.
if the teacher does this, kids should be doing this. So we want to see if the teacher's doing this, but the kids aren't doing the correlation of that, then you got a misalignment between what's intended for that lesson or that outcome versus kids. And that's where you get into the whole gap of alignment, because often we'll visit classrooms and the objective says one thing, but kids are doing something completely different. For an example, I was just in the 8th grade classroom the other day in ELA, and what the kids were doing was a worksheet, and it was low level. It was a recall, and it's not what the standard calls for. So that's what I'm talking about, looking at what kids are doing and how do we help teachers engage students more in the standard in which they're going to be tested on. Because that's the big thing, right? When you get to the end and kids get assessed, you want to make sure that they've had all this exposure or practice to the standards they're going to be expected to hit when we assess.
Okay, so if a teacher is struggling, if we see that, is that where the network?
Absolutely, that's where the coaching comes in,
Okay.
right? If you're a new teacher, you're just learning this crap.
Right.
The classroom I was in just this week, she was in her 2nd year. And so that's what we talk about, mentoring programs, outside coaching. And if I advocate for that, we could use 2 or more network instructional specialists in every single one of our schools. Our principals would say yes, because they're working side by side with the teacher. I mean, the assistant principal, the principal is as well, but when they're not there, we got to add that support there. So we want to gradually release that teacher from Cindy's helping me to me being able to do it on my own.
Right. I got it. I just wanted to know we had something. But, you know,
Yes.
you said one per school. 'Cause I know that could be new to some teachers.
Right, and remember we
That
had
level of,
the multi-classroom leader, and it was all splintered, and you had halftime. Some had support, some didn't. So now, even including the academy, all the elementary schools have one, and our high schools, because they have a larger population to get to more teachers, so they have 2, and then there's 3 at the high school.
So just a visual, what you saw today, what happens next to support that teacher?
Sure, that's where we go into coach and direct feedback. So
Gotcha.
in our walkthrough tool has 5 questions, and those 5 questions are reflective questions. So if I was the observer and you were the teacher, I would ask, hey, tell me about when you planned this lesson, why you chose that activity to do with your students. And I would get you to explain that, and then I would say, well, how does that activity relate to the standard that the students are being tested on? And that's where you start to try to close a gap between, oh, wow, this activity really wasn't tightly aligned as it could have been to the standard in which they're going to be assessed on.
And that feedback would come from our NIS, principal,
It could come from an NIS, it could absolutely come from a coordinator.
Coordinators.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The whole host of us that are here to support.
And I will say, like, I can't speak for math and ELA because they're not here, but when I look at all the new teachers that are in the tested science areas, there's 65 teachers, 23 are brand new to the role. So going through and helping them, so I'm going into those, I've seen all 23, but checking on them, they're emailing me back and asking, hey, what about this? They're asking different lesson plans, and we're having to tweak some. And I have some who were 2-year teachers who even though they're not brand new, they're still new to their craft and developing. So it's a all hands on deck, and how can we help? So not just say, hey, that's pretty low level. It's, hey, let's plan this together, and here's some strategies. Which one do you feel most comfortable with? And let's plan it together. I'll be in here to observe, and then we'll have a post-conference. So that whole coaching cycle. So we're not just saying, oh, man, that wasn't really good. We want to give them the tools to increase and to be better.
And the confidence.
And Ms. Carmichael?
Dr. Carmichael.
What's your title?
I'm the science coordinator.
Okay.
Okay. Outdoor learning,
Yeah, I just see what you
environmental,
Pre-K-12.
Okay.
pre-K-12.
Gotcha.
So as we thought about the conference, we wanted to make sure, will you go back to that last slide? So as we thought about it, we also wanted to make sure we were thinking about adult learning. And so we wanted there to be a sense of abundance, that people felt like there was enough for everyone. So that's why it was really important that we had snacks available, we had drinks available, we had fidgets available for everyone, we had stickers available, we had some stuff that was donated that we gave out, people could help with their classroom. So there was lots of different ways that we were helping folks. One of the things that we missed on was how people came into the conference. So this was the stickiest wicket we had. And so registration, everybody came at one time, and it was a little bit chaotic. So this is where we got probably our toughest logistical feedback. And one of the ways that we're going to address that next year is really Dr. Carmichael and I were kind of figuring this out as we went this summer. And so we really need a registration chair, somebody who is thinking more logistically than my brain can handle, and really thinking about how are people starting their day, making sure that we're getting them in out of the sun, making sure that they have a place to sit and have their muffin and coffee and that sort of thing. So this was our big feedback on how we can make things better. What I will say that was really beautiful, like I was super stressed during that time, but what was really beautiful is the people that just helped. So Principal Steinbeck came in and just got in to the registration line. There was this amazing para from the high school. What's her name? Cherry, Miss Cherry.
Miss Cherry.
And she just went and made copies and did things. It was just really amazing to see the community that kind of happened. But we definitely need to get better at that. When we looked at the data, the next slide, when we looked at the data and saw all of the qualitative data, these are the things that came up over and over. So People mentioned students, that was an overwhelming focus of their takeaways. Engagement, which is like, great, it's exactly what we wanted. Strategies came up 50 times. Relationships came up 38 times, so that we know that in the qualitative data that we got, that the things that folks were talking about and bringing back were exactly the things that we'd put out there. And then these are just some great quotes from folks, and we have 1,000 of them. So if you'd like to see more, let me know. I'm happy to share. But these are the ones that I think just really kind of spoke to how people engage in the conference. My biggest takeaway is that I can apply the strategies shared by the speaker to improve my practice and better support my students. I think people really loved that we had retired teachers, and they really loved that we had students and everything in between. So there really was a sense of community all the way through. And then the next one kind of just shows the different levels of those trainings. So like we have a brand new ESOL person, which is our, I don't know what that word means. ESOL is
English second language learners of English.
Great. But she had a great writing session. She'll take that back. The nurses did a panel that folks were able to choose where they wanted to go. And so that ability of voice and choice was also really great. And then Mandy, do you want to kind of wrap it up based on what we saw today? And
So as we walked around, so like I said, I've already gone into with all the schools, but also with the 23 new teachers, what I'm seeing is student engagement and student engagement, student engagement. So they're not passively learning. Yes, it's routines and procedures, but they're practicing. And so in science safety, what does that look like? And they were able to have that dialogue in between. And so, in giving scenarios and just having a small rubric. So seeing that the teachers are implementing what they learned from what our leaders provided for them from back to school. So it's been very, I would knock on the wood, but it's been very smooth in looking and watching. It's not like our tails aren't on fire. Everyone has all of their HQIM. They know how to use it. They know how to plan with it. They know what's upcoming as well in the pacing. And
Tell
so,
them what HQIM is.
oh, sorry, high quality
High
instructional
quality
materials. Sorry about the acronym. But I think, as you said in the executive summary, that it was a resounding success. Yes, we can always improve, and so when we have our after-action report of what can we do better, as Sarah said, the auditorium was a great place for us to begin. However, that lobby is really small, so maybe we need to have a different entrance to come in for registration. So we're already thinking about how to improve, and we always want to have teacher voice on what they're the adults, they're the adult learners, and that we want them to have the choice that's meaningful for them to impact students.
Any questions to either of you to my right?
How many were in attendance?
Well,
about 640.
These were paras, right?
no,
I mean,
these were
mixture?
all district employees
Okay.
came to this conference.
Teachers, it was all educators, paras,
It was
teachers.
mixed.
Yeah, so
Principals, assistant
Principals, yep.
coordinators.
transportation and
Child nutrition
child nutrition had their
had their
a separate.
own. They weren't there, but everybody else in the district was there.
So the follow-through from a great conference that you've shared is to what you're doing, walkthroughs and measurements and coaching and support. So we're not gonna wait till next year to just,
No, no.
all right.
I just want to say thank you, ladies, for putting in all the effort to make it a really great experience. Thank you.
To my left? I just have it's not a, it's kind of a question. But to go back to the mentoring part, we may already have a program, but I'm just visualizing if I'm a 2-year teacher and once I master and I get it down, mentoring somebody behind me, do we have that?
We
to-
do.
to help?
You have to be a mentor. You have to have been a teacher for 3 years,
Okay.
and then you have to have we have some criteria, but you have to have highly effective rating. But we do have a mentor program for all of our novice teachers, 1, 2, and 3, and they have a building level mentor, and some of them have mentors from other buildings if they're a highly specific subject area, like a special ed teacher that needs one from another building. But yes, we do have an active mentor program. And Well, yes. Archford also offers a mentor program for our novice teachers.
I'm just looking, I always look in-house.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Me too.
Because if I'm in a class, you know, we're both fourth grade teachers, and I get it. It's nice to mentor my partner,
100%.
and you tend to learn better from your peers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just
Versus
one other
outside.
thing when we're talking about mentors, I'll just throw this out there. Miss Langston for ELA has model classrooms right now in K through 5th grade. And so the new teachers in ELA, all the 1st through 3rd year teachers, they're going to get to go visit these model classrooms, see them teach a lesson, and we have days designated per month so that each of these can go through. So we have kindergarten through 5th grade so that they can see what it looks like from another teacher too.
Awesome.
And I would just add to bring it, home. We just recognize the best of the best. Many of them, if
And
not
they are
all of
mentors.
them, are mentoring teachers in their buildings to give it back to their craft to pass it on, which is pretty cool.
And you know, I like promoting. So if we could find some kind of way to recognize those that have achieved and they're helping others, I believe that they need to be
idea.
recognized as well.
It's a great idea.
Absolutely. That's a great idea.
Good report. Thank you.
Thank
y'all.
you.
Thank you, ladies.
Alrighty, we are down to, that was our only informational items. Keep it rolling. We're down to action items. The first
Sweet.
one is fiscal year 26 resolution to transfer operating fund balance in excess of 13.2 million to building fund.
So just a reminder, as Mr. Brown's coming up, we had this discussion in our last kind of budget workshop about transferring end-of-year money into our building fund. And as Mr. Brown said, he'll be coming back to the next board meeting to request the transfer. So welcome, Mr. Brown.
Thank you. And here I am. So we're requesting, so the reason this transfer is needed is the transfer of funds to and from operating for either depositing or expending requires board approval. So what we do is we balance our checkbook, our operating fund, to 13.2 annually, and we deposit the excess into our building fund. So what we're asking tonight is your approval on the resolution that allows me, when we close the books officially on August the 31st, to transfer that balance, the fund excess of 13.2 million to our building fund, where that will be held either for a construction project or once it's in the building fund, it doesn't mean it has to stay there. If the board has a priority that it wants to draw back some of those funds to operating, that's allowable. The board controls that by vote. So this is a holding spot, but we place the money there mainly to support the building fund program. And as you know, construction's underway and progress is being made in that program, in the building program. So this supports that. But I just wanted to make a note that it is transferable back if there's a need and the board approves. So we're asking for your approval on this resolution to move the excess funds to building fund in excess of 13.2 million.
Is there a motion?
Can I ask a couple questions real quick?
Sure.
I'll keep 'em.
Sure.
How much will it be? How much do we anticipate will be in excess of the 13.2?
We anticipate 8 million,
Okay.
possibly more. It's a moving target until we finally close.
Right.
If we have revenue, which we have, so all revenue that comes in after July 1,
Yep.
that is for the prior fiscal year, we record it in this year,
Yep.
but we accrue it back.
Yep.
And then any bill that comes in
Mhm.
that's for last fiscal year, we pay it this year, but we accrue it back.
Back.
So every day
Yeah,
of
it's a
business that
little-
we process, it's a moving target. We're anticipating around eight and a half million.
What is the source of the savings?
Our refinance, that's a good question. So we refinance bonds back during COVID
Okay.
at a lower interest rate. we took all of that savings up front.
Mm-hmm.
This is our final year of bond refinance savings.
And which account is that?
That will be, well, the savings accumulates in operating to
Okay.
be transferred at the end of the year like we're doing by resolution.
So the bond refinancing comes.
So if you recall, Fund 4
Mm-hmm.
is our bonded debt
Got it. That's what I needed.
fund.
Okay.
Now,
And then-
all funds are deposited into two,
Operating.
and we
and then we
transfer it to
Got it.
4 to pay
Okay.
that. So,
I'll have this down eventually.
yeah, so,
Um,
our bonded debt payment is smaller
Small.
right now.
Yes.
Which
Got it.
generates
Got it.
savings in Fund 2 that are
That
being transferred to
transferred.
Fund 3.
Yeah, and we're
Yes.
thinking right around there. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any more
That's it
questions?
for me.
Is there a motion? There's a resolution.
I
that-
got it.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the resolution that the CFO is authorized to transfer from the operating fund to the building fund the amount of the legal fund balance in excess of $13,200,000.
Second.
It has been properly moved in second that we approve the CFO and authorize to transfer from the operating fund to the building fund in the amount of the legal fund balance in excess of $13.2 million. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Do the transfer.
Thank you,
Thanks, Mr. Brown.
thank you.
Our next action item is previous board minute meetings.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I move that we accept the regular meeting minutes from July 23rd, 2026, and the special meeting minutes of August 6th, 2026.
Is there a second?
I second.
It has been properly moved in second that we approve the regular meeting July 23rd, 2026, and the special meeting August the 6th, 2026. Is there any discussion?
I just noticed that there's May content in there. So I don't know if that's just us playing catch up. But I was trying to make sure that our meeting packets could be, like this week's was 700 plus pages, right? So I'm wondering if we have more meeting minutes in the packet than just August and July, but I don't know. Okay, just as a food for thought. I know it's a lot of pages, but I saw dates from May and I was like, this is a lot. So, anyway.
Any
That's
more,
it.
any further discussion?
I'd like to move that, to rescind our, vote on the professionalism policy, and just let me explain why. Well, I need a second before I can go into discussion.
Second.
Well, we
Or do we, is that the proper?
on the
we still got to vote, a motion on the table. And the motion is to approve,
them.
to
Right.
accept the minutes.
You had a second?
Yeah, second. To
Okay.
approve the minutes.
All those in, it's been properly moved in second that we approve the regular meeting July 23rd and the special meeting August the 6th. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes. And what's your?
Now, I move to rescind our approval of our professional, I know it's written a certain way, but I think it's classified, and the license professionalism policy.
So, yeah. So first, we need a motion to amend the agenda, because it's not an agenda item, to amend the agenda to add the classified, what was it, the classified?
I don't understand why we need based
Because-
on my conversation with the school, it could be brought up once we approve the minutes of July, to rescind that motion, and the rationale behind the motion. If you'll go ahead and let us get a second, I can speak to it in discussion.
But it's not I know what you're saying, and yes, we can discuss it, and yes, it can be rescinded, but it's not an agenda item.
Well,
And
rescinding
so
is never
to get
agenda
it
item.
on the agenda to discuss it, we just need a motion to add it.
But to rescind the motion is never an agenda item.
To rescind what motion?
To, when we approve the policy, the professionalism policy of, I think it was classified and licensed,
So you're rescinding
The
one of the,
approval of your minutes
one of the minutes?
from July 23rd.
Okay. So what should have happened is we shouldn't have accepted the July 23rd.
You shouldn't have accepted the
We
minutes.
should have accepted
if
the
there was a-
minutes.
Per Arkansas School Board Association, that is not, what I did was the way we should have done it. So I checked as the parliamentarian to ensure that I was on the right track. He said, you approve your minutes because that's the action that took place.
Mhm.
Then you can come back and do, move to rescind if there's a concern.
Of the, and which one, again, the classified,
The policy,
which classified policy?
you got the, professionalism.
The which one? Classified policy for professionalism?
I don't see it.
8.87, the professional classified policy, Ms. Parker?
Yeah,
That's 8.87, according to the minutes.
minute.
And then the license one was
The license was what?
3.69. Do you have that?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
professional license policy number 3.69.
So you're making a motion to rescind the
Yes.
8.87
Three.
classified. Okay, make your motion and
And
get
your
the
3
second,
point,
and
what was that
then,
number again?
3.69.
And 8.87.
Okay. The motion is, I move to rescind 3.69 and 8.87 from our minutes of July 23rd.
Second.
it's been properly moved and second that we rescind 8.87, the classified policy for professionalism that was in the July 23rd minutes. Is there any discussion?
Yes. And the discussion is as simple as this, like I said, something. Based on our approval of the minutes, which we did, not the minutes, the policy. During our meeting, there was discussion to add verbiage to it, correct? Right? So when we did that, we should have sent it back because what came from the CPPC, based on the questions asked, that verbiage information had not been asked to be added to it. Therefore, they didn't have the time frame allotted to them to speak to that additional verbiage, which was good verbiage, but I'm just saying it did as far as the policy that allows CPP and LPPC, they did not have that. For one, they were not in session. We were not in session. So the second piece of it, anything voted after July 1st does not go into effect immediately unless CPPC and LPPC sends it back to be effective immediately. If it's after July 1st when we voted, it would take action July 1st of next year. So that's why I wanted to pull that so that we can get it back and get it, an alignment correctly as far as it should go back through our PPCs. I know it's gonna
We
confuse y'all,
haven't-
that's why I called.
Listen, the PPC's had it since December, I believe. I mean,
They did. Well, when we talked about it, remember, it was said it was in December, I think January and April. I could be off on some of the dates. But based on the discussion we had during the meeting,
Go ahead,
Go
Ms.
ahead.
Smith. Yep.
it was shared that we added verbiage when you said you spoke with Ms. Scott to make sure it was effective for everyone. Is that not correct?
Yes, and that.
Okay,
and
so that's where we added that to that, or it was gonna be added to it. So if we're adding anything that someone has already approved, we would have to send it back to them with the addition.
The
board
board
gets
has the final say.
Correct.
board gets final say. We do not have to send it back after that.
The
Well,
board has the final say.
I still stand on my motion
I mean,
and
that's
my
fine.
discussion.
Well, we have
based
to
on
because
all of
we've-
this that's
it's
been
there.
shared as your
Yeah.
parliamentarian with the Arkansas School Board Association, Mr. Lucas. So maybe we need to table it and go back to him. But just want to make sure we're doing things, right. It's not to take it away, it's just to do it the right way, is what I'm saying. If we added the verbiage and they were not in session to see it,
Go ahead, Mr. Smith. I know
Smith.
you.
The way I understand from my experience, Ms. Barker is correct about the July 1st date. So anything passed after July 1st without an approval of the PPC in which the policy applies to which representation, then it would have to go into effect the following year. So whenever we changed the law and we took away the entire staff vote, remember how we used to have to send out for a 50% majority for a policy to go into effect the same year? Now the PPC is the governing body that does that. So as long as the PPC by majority approves, then that policy would go into effect. The part about the 10 days, we'll have to check with Lucas.
I'm not sure about that.
I don't think you have to resend back. The PPCs make their recommendation. It sits with the PPC, and then the board has the final autonomy in conjunction with how the administration or the PPC brings the policy forward. There's two avenues for it, but once the board votes, there's no requirement to ping pong it back and forth. After the 10 days, the requirement is met.
But I'd ask that you speak with him.
Yes,
when we
ma'am.
come back to that.
Yes,
because
ma'am.
I was very thorough in trying to make sure, do it go back because it was changed.
Sure.
Yes,
We'll be
ma'am.
happy to.
Yeah.
We'll be happy
But the
to,
information he said, if it was changed based on how they sent it, it is no longer the way they sent it. So
Yes, ma'am.
that's only, so
Sure.
that's how that was. That's why I want to make sure it's correct.
Sure.
Absolutely.
The
Sure,
way
sure,
we
sure.
do it. That's all
We'll
I'm
be-
trying to do is make,
we'll be happy
I'm elected as your parliamentarian, I looked into it.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
There's a motion on the floor to rescind 8.87, and it was second. You have some
Oh,
more
I was just
discussion?
gonna ask the question, so if the July effectiveness, like if the effective date, it can't be implemented until next year, is it not worth us going back and getting PPCs to review so that as and when they approve, we can implement it? Or, so we basically have to wait another year?
It can go into effect immediately if they.
If they approve it?
the majority would
the
have to
majority,
vote
yes.
on it.
But based on.
So how do we
then-
have that happen?
Right, so what we would do is we'd take your revisions back, and
Right.
once they are seated next month,
Right.
this month, they would go back, they would review it, and then they would vote on it, either yes or no, to put it in effect now.
Okay,
And then if
Sure.
they say no, then it would go and get kicked to the following
Yeah.
July 27.
so what do we need to do right now in order to get it back in front of them?
Well, first
for
we have
September.
to approve to rescind because there's a motion on the floor. So first we have to approve to rescind 8.87.
No, we don't have to rescind it to send it.
Correct,
Yeah,
that's,
Right.
that's not, we don't have to
Right.
rescind it to
it's,
send it to.
right, it's been approved,
Yes.
and so you,
You're just rescinding the motion, not the action of what we do with it.
right, but you've already approved
Right,
the
we've
policy,
approved
so
it.
the policy has been approved.
been
Now
approved.
we're talking about implementing it, and it would go back to them to vote, is it gonna be implemented now,
Now,
or is it gonna be implemented a year from now?
also to add the
So
verbiage
first
you and Ms.
rescind-
Scott discussed.
Yeah.
So first we
Of
need
course,
to,
yes.
of course.
we need to cancel the motion that was made. So you wanna take your motion back? Because it was, a motion was made and it was second.
Right. So we're in
And we're
discussion.
ready to vote.
Yeah, we're in discussion.
And so we're ready to vote.
Okay.
Right, but the vote
So-
is to remove it completely from your approval of it, which has already been approved.
And we don't, but it's out there that
Yes,
we made
it
that
is.
motion.
It is a motion.
Well, I call for the question. We just vote on the motion that's on the floor.
All those in favor say aye. Any-
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Roll call, Ms. Rhonda. Dr. Redis? No.
No.
Yay.
Yes.
Listen, y'all. What, we're voting as to whether or not we do what?
Undo what we've already done.
Correct.
But it's
So-
already going to be undone for at least a year.
Right.
That's what we just learned.
Well, you don't,
Yes.
but you don't know that.
We don't
If it goes back to the LPPC and PPC and they vote and they say yes, then it goes into effect immediately. If they say no, then it will not go into effect for another year.
We've
But
got
what
to
you're,
send it to them anyway to
Correct.
decide on whether or not
on the
they want it
implementation,
now or later.
it's on the implementation.
So then what's the benefit of rescinding it?
Well, but the motion on the floor is to remove the vote altogether that you've approved this policy. That's what the motion is to stop the policy.
It's a benefit. It's a benefit to ensure that we're doing it correctly. We're looking at something very massive to your employees. And just to make sure we're in alignment, you talk about the moral and the culture, you want to make sure it's right. I have no dog in the fight, but I do care about making sure we're doing it right. I have nothing, I mean,
Sure, and
you want to do it right.
may I
If-
ask a
if-
question?
You know, I know that was new, but
May I ask a question, Ms. Barker?
Yes,
Or
sir.
maybe to the board, and I'll refer to my colleague, Mr. Smith, spent a lot of time with LPPC and CPPC. We have, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Smith, but we have voted on several policies that the board has voted on, and then it went to the LPPC for implementation on the date of implementation. It didn't have to go, because I remember several years that we've done this, we had to go back and say, is this going to be voted on to be implemented now or to be waited on? When, after the board has already voted on the policy, whether that's salary we've done, or whether that's a calendar we've done, or whether that's several things, but the board has never stopped the entire, what they've approved, and then canceled out the policy altogether and sent it back.
And started the process over.
Correct, and started the process all over again.
well, let me speak for Crystal Barker. I'm not starting the process over. If you bring me something and I voted on it, and then you approve it without, you add additional things to it. I
Amended.
didn't approve that. They may not agree to the additional verbiage, but they might. So to just do it the correct way, I mean,
Excuse me.
that's let me finish. That's all I'm trying to do is make sure we're doing it the correct way. It shouldn't bring about a level of energy or attitudes. We're talking about our employees. We're talking about something that can remove their livelihood if it's not done right. So I just want to make sure we're doing it right. I'm not caught up in how, but I want to make sure we do it right. I know Robert Rules of Order require parliamentary procedures, so I've just approached it in that manner. I did not come before you without my own research with Lucas at the Arkansas School Board Association. So you feel if you need to table, whatever you need to do, just make it be very clear. I'm just trying to do it right in care and concern of all of our employees. That's a serious policy that we have out there. And I just want to make sure we're looking at it right. It was done right, so it's just doing it right. I wasn't elected to do it wrong. I was elected to do things right and in the benefit of the success of our staff and students. So we shouldn't get attitudes about it.
There is a vote.
It's just business. It's
There
not
is a
personal.
vote on the floor, and there's just one vote left. So it's either yay or nay.
They're still part of the discussion because A, you're saying don't get attitude, but you're basically saying we did it wrong, and and that is a big deal. But the whole verbiage that was added was based on feedback from those people.
Absolutely. But attitude does not measure and cause us, it's just discussion.
I know.
We
It's
agree
our
to
discussion.
disagree, so it's just discussion.
I know.
I have no problem. I just want to make sure I'm noted for doing it right. So no, it's just doing it right. Just like the policy reads, it talks about being professional.
But to answer your question, so that you'll know, to answer your question, the vote means if we're rescinding it, we're starting the entire process over. Of approving it.
Right.
But if you say no, that means that we've approved it, but we still have to do the policy part, which is
When does it get implemented?
when does it get implemented? It's up to them.
And you were coming forward to represent the LPPC perspective on this policy?
I am not.
Okay.
That would be for the chair of the LPPC to do. What
Right.
I'm up here doing is trying to clarify in the best way
Actually,
I know how
it's
any
the
sort of
CPPC.
Both of them.
Yeah.
both, yeah. So I'm just trying to clarify any questions I might be helpful with.
And I guess just to zoom out for a second, maybe take a breath, for all of us, because this is a process question, right, on how policies get developed in our district, whose feedback we take into consideration, and how we implement that feedback. So for me, I listened to the feedback that I received because this policy has been out there for a bit, and that's what prompted the revisions that we requested. I was not aware of the rule that if we voted on it after July, that it would be delayed a year. So we have a year for the PPCs.
Not necessarily.
Okay,
So-
help
Yeah.
me understand
Right,
that.
so-
That's
so-
new knowledge
so-
tonight,
They can
right?
vote.
So basically, let's clarify. The motion that Ms. Barker said is to rescind it. That means you voted on this once and it got approved 5-0. And if her motion is passed, then that policy doesn't exist at all.
Okay,
So
but
that's,
If we
Oh.
keep it,
yes.
then what happens?
Then the policy with its amended revisions that you added to it, which you can do, it will go back to the LPPC and CPPC to vote on its implementation. So they are gonna look at it and say, are we gonna vote and implement this now? Or yes or no? It's either gonna get implemented now or it waits until July of 27 and then it gets implemented.
And based on our meeting minutes from the PPCs from May, they spoke to this tonight, no? That their revisions of the last policy were
Yes.
included
Yes.
in the most recent
Yes.
version.
But they were only, from my
That's right.
understanding, and I can only speak for the LPPC, not for the CPPC, but they were only recommendations.
That's right.
So the policy was approved with recommendations, and then however the administration and the board chose to implement those recommendations into the policy, that was a blanket approval of the policy. Does that make sense?
No.
Let me say something. I'm not asking, and maybe I said, I don't know, but I don't want to take it off the table. I'm not saying that. I'm asking to rescind, to send it back for them to review it because it was changed prior, once we received what we received, we added something. And I'm not saying we did it wrong, I just want us to make sure because it's not wrong that we did it purposely on wrong. We may not have had our understanding on,
So,
had they had it the time they needed it. I just,
So-
I'm not saying we did it wrong.
and we can seek more clarity with this, but at least, Mr. Smith, I'm gonna ask you, because we spent some time on this side with it. My understanding is that the board voted on this, and what we've done as administration is we've taken it, this, whatever the policy was, to the LPPC and CPPC for their vote. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was never a motion to send the policy, once it's approved, to the LPPCs for their vote. That was always on the administration side, because what they're voting on is time of implementation, not changes or whether you agree with the policy.
I am not sure. I would have to seek the
So we
minutes
could-
and
we
all
could
those
seek
things.
clarity on that. That's my understanding, because I know we've been here before, that we've always had to go back and say, okay, if we've done something in the middle of the year, sometimes we've done a policy in the middle of the year, and does that go into effect immediately, or does it go into effect July 1st of the coming year? I'm almost certain on that, but we can seek clarity, and we can go find the answers to our questions, and we can bring it back to you for additional information or clarity, but it still stands, there is a vote on the table for removing this policy altogether that was approved upon 5-0. That's what's on the table.
And we can come back to this discussion at our next board meeting, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
There's no, like,
It could be an action,
Expiry
it could be
of-
an item of, matter of fact, what we could do is we put these minutes back on as an action item.
Okay.
But you've approved them, so we could just, I'll figure that out as to,
how to bring it back
How to
up.
bring it
right,
back up.
because, yes.
But
And-
my
and-
thing is, there is a motion on the table.
So
we gotta-
I
we
understand
gotta
you want an
clarify.
answer from me, and I appreciate your persistence, but I don't make decisions without, coming to clarity for myself. So I will vote to keep it, that which is no, right?
Correct.
But I also want to see it back on the agenda at our next board meeting
I'll agree.
with the feedback, which we'll have our committees, right, that will present, knowing what their feedback is on it with the most updated version, all the language, right?
Yep, so we'll do the homework on our end.
Okay.
If it stays as it is, then let us go do our homework and clarify some of the questions that are on the table and make sure you all have that information, and then that will determine the next steps.
And then just as like food for thought for the future, because I know we have more of these coming up, is like a flow chart on policy development in the district or something. I know we have the one.
I
that's
have one.
I know, but none of this is in there. So I'm just saying, I think for all of our learning, as we make these policy changes, we need to have some clarity on like, here are our steps, so that there's no confusion about, we're not gonna implement policies without feedback from those that are impacted. But we also have to get to a decision. So,
And we do get final decision. We don't, if we make a change, once they've had it, we can choose to send it back to them, but we're not doing wrong if we don't send it back.
And I understand that, and I want to be real clear on the mic. I'm not saying we did it wrong. I'm just saying I'm making sure we did it right. And that can go however you process it.
right.
But I'm not saying we did it wrong. I just know the information based on the way it was delivered. We did need to revisit that. So, that,
And it's just the professionalism on both sides.
yes, sir. And, if you want,
So for clarity,
and I think there's
it's
homework
3
that the board members do as well. We go get our own clarification, Madam President, to ensure that because that's what I approached it at. We should be bringing it back to them and not necessarily them bringing it back to us all the way. So we need to do our own research as well, as I've already done.
the vote was 3-2, so the motion fails.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And so you know your assignment to bring it back.
Yep.
Thank you. On the consent agenda, the next item is the consent agenda. Are there any questions or requests to pull any items separate from the consent agenda? There being none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Madam Chair, I move to, what is the word? Accept the consent agenda as printed, as presented.
Second.
It has been properly moved in second that we approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes.
Madam President,
Yes.
may I ask a clarifying or provide information regarding a potential future facility request?
Sure.
Mr. Brown, we had a request today at literally 3 o'clock, and that was not enough time to prepare to come to you. However, Mr. Brown and I wanted to brief you on potentially what's coming and some of the parameters around the potential facility request and simply get your feedback.
Thank you, Dr. Paluski. So as he mentioned, we did receive a facility request today at 3 p.m. And I can give you a little bit of background information on it, let you know what has transpired that has started this request. So Arkansas has a professional soccer team. They are referred to as the Arkansas Wolves. They have a exhibition match that was originally scheduled at War Memorial on Saturday, September 19th. They contacted Arkansas Wolves. Founder contacted us today, said that he had been notified by War Memorial that they have a scheduling conflict. And it stems around War Memorial's ability to repaint and restripe their field for soccer versus football and the time frame of their game. And so War Memorial is actually contacting them to move their game. Their game is the exhibition game is between Arkansas Wolves and the LA Force. They're from Los Angeles, California. They're a 3-time national championship team, and changing the date of the game was not an option because they had LA Force has their schedule, Arkansas Wolves has their schedule, they have flights scheduled, they have housing arranged, so they're looking for an alternative venue. They reached out to North Little Rock, our soccer coach, who got in touch with us, and what they're asking for is to use our facility on September the 19th. We can bring you an official approval packet for you to review and approve on September 3rd. So we can go through all of the normal paperwork. This would be a rental. The soccer team has, the Arkansas Wolves owner has also offered to share 20% of the profits in addition to renting the facility. He would share 20% of the profits from the event with the high school soccer team. So our team would benefit. He's also offered, and I'll read from his information here. He said, I think we can make this experience much bigger than just a game. We'd love to involve the soccer players at North Little Rock in meet and greets with both professional teams, potentially incorporate the school band if they're interested. We would also recognize the school soccer program during the event, and we could brainstorm other integrations that would make this something the students and community really feel a part of. So in addition to just the normal rental part of this, they're agreeing to incorporate and involve our kids in the event itself. They're also willing to share profits with this high school soccer team. The only thing they're asking, which is why I'm before you right now, so they're asking to be able to advertise their venue starting within the next 48 hours, because this entire time they've had War Memorial as their venue. So they want to hit the media with they're playing at North Little Rock. So we did not want to agree to a company advertising using our facility as the venue without talking to you, the board, to say here's the circumstances, here's the reason why. I guess what we're asking from you tonight is just basically a nod saying, yes, we're good with you working out the contract, bringing the details to us on September 3rd for formal approval, with the understanding that you may see a reference to them using North Little Rock School District Stadium before you approve it on September 3rd. So we just didn't want you all hit with something in the media that would say somebody's using our facility and you not know the circumstances.
I get it, but what happens if on September 3rd we don't want it? And they've already started advertising that we've said yes.
It's the board's privilege to say yes or no to a rental. So if you do not want the rental, then that would be an issue.
Yeah. Go ahead.
My only question is, War Memorial is a whole lot bigger than our stadium. How's that going to work? Is it going to be big? I mean,
they have talked. They have had discussions with our group about the capacity of our stadium, and my understanding is that they don't fill up War Memorial. That's a Central Arkansas rental venue that professional teams have used. They attempted, that was their plan all along, was to use War Memorial, but now it's not available to them on the date that they had originally agreed. So now they're looking for an alternative location to have it.
Could I ask one on that? Is that going to affect any of the other athletic programs at all? The
No,
other
sir.
programs, football and the band, were okay with that as well?
I've talked with Coach Ballon. There are no scheduled events for our stadium on September the 19th. And we don't have a scheduled high school football game on Friday, September the 18th, the Friday before. So our stadium is open that weekend.
Do we know their average ticket price?
I do not. We would get that information in the packet that would come to you
Okay.
for
I would just
approval.
like to throw out there, I love the letter that they wrote about engaging our community. If it'd be possible to raffle tickets off to people in the district, or like, I don't know how sought after the game will be, but, and depending on how expensive the tickets are, they may be inaccessible to our students. So-
in our negotiations with them, we could include some tickets that we could
Determine
we could draw
for the
and
kids
offer. Yes.
or fans in town,
That would be good.
because it sounds fun.
Yes.
It sounds to me like that's now it's turned into an action item.
Well,
No.
we're
No.
not asking for formal approval. If you're
Just a
okay
notice.
with them advertising North Little Rock, they're looking for a venue. They're willing to rent.
Well, let's
So
just put
we're-
it this way. Does anybody object to that?
No.
All I would ask is, do we get to see the advertisement before it's posted to ensure
We can.
things are
We can-
appropriate as far as our district?
Well, this is a,
Other than that, I don't see
this is
nothing
a
wrong with it.
professional soccer team, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do anything inappropriate.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine that.
Well, you just want to know you looked at it.
We'll make sure we put our eyes on
Yeah, I still would look at it.
it before it goes public.
We can.
Yeah.
And so we'll come back to
Yeah.
you on September 3rd with the
With it.
packet. It is a rental. They are renting the facility, and in addition to that, they are
20%.
donating 20% of the profits to
Yeah.
our soccer program, and they're going to include them in a meet and greet. They're going to include them in the activities of that day as well. So
Yeah.
I think it's a win-win for our students. I just didn't want to give them permission to use North Little Rock without you all knowing that a facility rental agreement, a formal agreement, is coming for your approval on the 3rd. It's just that the public announcement of the venue may beat me here to you on the September 3rd.
Makes sense.
Sounds good.
Nobody
Okay.
objects.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Executive closed session per North Florida School District Policy 1.14A stating that private or closed discussions by the board may occur as part of a regular or special board meeting. Executive sessions may be held only for the purpose of considering employment, appointment, promotion, demotion, disciplining, or resignation of an employee, or to discuss matters of pupil punishment, if requested by the parent or legal guardian. No resolution, agreement, or motion considered in the executive session shall be legally binding unless the board reconvenes in public session and presents the item for vote of the membership. Finally, Arkansas Code Title 25, Chapter 19, Section 102C1 states the specific purpose of the executive session shall be announced in public before going into the executive session. Please join me in the executive closed session for discussing the following matters: employment, appointments, promotions, demotions, disciplining, or resignation of an employee. We are back in session. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I move we accept the employment of personnel as presented in executive session.
Second.
It has been properly moved in second that we approve the employment of personnel as presented in executive closed session. Being that it is employment of personnel, there can be no discussion, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes. Are there any acknowledgements?
Just one, Madam President. I just want to recognize all of our parents and our students. We're off to a great start to the 26-27 school year. Couldn't be proud of everybody's work to get this school year off on the right foot.
And other than our future meetings that has been noted, is there a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
move we adjourn.
I second that motion.
It has been properly moved in second that we adjourn. Any discussion about it? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?